Hi, my name is Amy.
Hi, I'm Lanan.
And welcome back to Bingeable Beans. Your twin brother is running, screaming, "You crazy people!"
And then boom, gets hit, dies.
Case is swept under the rug.
And to take matters into your own hands, you transfer to your brother's prestigious school to get revenge.
You figure out which student killed your brother.
And you're determined to knock that student down.
Just when you thought you had the killer,
you meet the key to all the secrets
that then had you questioning everything.
And you find out it wasn't even the student,
but rather, it was someone that is supposed to help and protect the students. A teacher.
Yep. So today we're going to be talking about hierarchy, continuing to talk about hierarchy. The second half of hierarchy, all our questions from before get answered slowly, one by one. And a big question that was lingering from that first part is who is threatening J.E. Who's blackmailing her?
Yeah.
And we find out in this part that it was Moss, which I wasn't expecting it to be Moss.
We knew he had connections for sure, but we didn't know he was the blackmailer.
Yeah.
It makes you question, like, why is he blackmailing her?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes sense because we thought, like, he was going to help Kang-ha either way because he felt some type of way with, like, In-ha's death.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew, I said it in the first part too, I knew it. He knows a lot of information. He's the key to all the info. And then, yeah, we find out he's the person threatening, right? And then Kang-ha finds out, and then they kind of team up, but they have different perspectives though.
Oh yeah,
on the situation. And
their end goal was the same though. That's what Kang-ha was saying.
Yeah, their end goal was the same. It was related back to In-han's case.
Yeah, but I think Kang-ha he had the same, like the exact same like mindset of Moss in the very beginning.
It was to get revenge. Revenge
on the killer. But when he like had the relationship with the elite kids, especially J.E., that's when he changed his mind.
Because that's the thing that made him and the Moss different. Both of them, it started off with they're close to In-han, right? So yeah, Kang-ha obviously it's his brother, and then the Moss, they were close friends, and so they wanted revenge, find the killer, and end the killer. Right. Yeah. But Kang-ha, because he took a different approach, he's actually interacting with them. He realizes this like different side of them. He realizes their own issues, and he also realizes that they might not even be the killer. And then along the way, as he's at this school, he realizes there's an even bigger issue.
I think he thinks that that's the root issue.
Yeah, he thinks the root issue is the system.
Yeah.
The teachers, the principals. But the Moss still only saw it simply as Rion and J.E., the toughest students, are the problem. If I knock them down, this problem will end. That's how the Moss saw it. Kang-ha saw it more as, okay, you end these people, but it still won't get... The system will continue. The system of like elites and poor, it just will continue. It'll just be different people.
When he was explaining to Moss his like thought process, mindset, it was like in a better light. Like, we need to do this in a smart way. Like, do this. We got to fix the issue, you know? But Moss, he was not gaslighting him in a way, but he was like, it's because of J.E., right? Like, Kang-ha, you like J.E., that's why you're doing this, right? Like, remember what happened to In-ha. Like, didn't you want a revenge on him? And I think, like, he didn't know how to answer that. But I'm so glad that Moss he went with Kang-ha's plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was going to, like, recklessly expose Rion's and J.E.'s stuff.
Yeah. You know, Moss was saying that, like, oh, Kang-ha is being, like, emotionally driven because of his relationship with J.E., but it actually turned out the opposite. Moss was the one that was emotional and was acting on just emotions.
Yeah, because he was panicking, freaking out whenever J.E. found out he was the blackmailer. Like, he was like, oh my God, like, they know who I am.
Yeah,
like,
and then he was worried that Kang-ha wouldn't go through with, like, the revenge, even though I think now we know that Kang-ha had it, like, figured out for the most part. He had everything, like, in place to take down the system. And I think Kang-ha also realized that this is what In-han would have wanted, is to take down the system, because he also knew and figured out that his brother did care for J.E. Kang-ha knew that In-han wouldn't have wanted them to take down J.E. and destroy her like that.
So going back to In-ha's that's the biggest question, like, who was the killer of In-ha's death, right? But I was like, in the last episode, I was talking about how I think that everyone was somehow involved. Maybe like they didn't know. And I was kind of right in a way. Everyone had to do something with Inha's situation that led up to his accident. They weren't involved with the accident, but there's things that they could have done that could have prevented the accident to ever happening in the first place. Everyone had a part. Like, for example, Rian could have stopped the bullying, but he let it happen because he didn't like the idea that Inha and Jae had a relationship of some sort, and he just let the bullying happen.
Yeah.
Jae was gonna stop it too, but then she was stopped by Rian. And I think...
Well, and that goes into Jae's situation too. All the stuff that gets revealed explains why Jae acted the way she did, and she didn't stop certain things. Because she, first of all, her relationship with her dad, she's always scared, and she was taught since she was little, don't cry, don't laugh unnecessary, just kind of sit still and follow orders, you know? So even though maybe she does realize that things are happening, things are wrong, she's scared. She's scared that
she was just taught that way.
Yeah.
That's how she is.
And then she's scared that like she'd end up like her mom, so like killed off or like hidden away kind of thing. And then her relationship with Rian also affected it as well. So I think the biggest turning point in the timeline that made like the situation bad was her pregnancy. When she found out that she was pregnant, that's when she was
pregnant with Rian's baby.
Yeah, it was Rian's baby. That's when she distanced herself away from Rian. And that's during that time she got closer to Inhan. Was whenever like she found out. Yeah. And yeah, because she was distancing herself from Rian, she got closer to Inhan. Not in a like she's getting with him, but like he just so happened to be there. You know, like the times when she was off in the movie theater room by herself, she's watching stuff. Inhan so happened to be there, next to her, and so they just got closer in a friendly way. I don't think it was like a romantic relationship, or maybe not from her end at least. I think she was sad.
Well, so I remember you were we were talking to each other. You're just like, you don't think that they had that kind of relationship. I think they did. They just didn't like show it on the show because it wasn't really that important. Because in the same way how she sees Kangha, she saw Inhan. So I think she was fond of Inhan too. Like she liked him a little bit. I think so.
No. Kangha for sure. She does say at the very, very end, right before she leaves, because Kangha asked her before, like, oh, did you ever have feelings for me? She said no. And he was like, you're a liar. And then at the very end, she, like, as she's walking away, she turned down. She was like, I did lie.
Yeah.
You know?
I do wish, I thought who she was going to end up with was Kangha. Because, like, he's literally perfect. Like, who wouldn't like him? Honestly, he's cute. He's literally morally right. And, like, I don't know, he's just perfect round. And he cares for Jae. Like, he really liked her. But she ended up with Rian. And I have a lot to say about this. Because first, in the beginning, I felt bad for Jae. I felt bad for Rian because their parents and, like, Jae's getting threatened. No wonder she's acting the way she's acting, because she's going through all this trouble. Like, her personal life, but she's not expressing that, or she's not telling anyone. This is all kept and balled up in herself. That's why I felt bad for her in the first place. And Rian too.
To like jump in real quick though, that's also why she acts so cold the whole time, and you can't really tell what she's actually feeling, is because of her history.
Her personal life?
Yeah, her personal life, yeah.
Personal issues and stuff. Yeah, like to her dad, to her brother, and even her best friend. Like, but she's going through a lot, right? But then later, we find out that there's like a bigger issue with her, like with her pregnancy stuff. That's pretty major. Like, I can understand why she's not wanting to tell Rian. Anyways, but then later to the second half of the show, I didn't feel bad anymore, because yes, their parents are bad, their personal issues, but it's just their actions, the things that they didn't do, that they should have done, but they didn't do it. And because like Jae, to me, she's a coward. She's selfish. She literally asked Kangha, the guy that she knows that he likes her, so that's why she's asking him, and like she knows that he will. She's asking Kangha to help protect Rian, and I'm like, oh my god, why was she like, the audacity? And he was like crying, like, why? He's like, that's so cruel. And I agree, like, that's so messed up. Like, and you said that you didn't feel bad, or you didn't feel bad for her best friend Hera, but I at in the beginning I didn't like her, but towards the end I felt bad for her, because at least she's real. Like, she admitted it too.
But no, this goes with Jae's character though. That's why they show all of her background, is because like all these problems are happening, indirectly her fault, because she's not able to communicate properly. Communicate her issues, right? And it started from the pregnancy thing. If she would have just told Rian instead of pushing him away and going to like be by herself, she probably wouldn't even have gotten close to Inhan, right? And then if she would have also told her best friend, like everyone could have helped her. That's why, like, at the end, she asked Kangha, she's like, oh, you're the only person that I can trust. Because she pushed everyone else away.
Well, I know why she asked Kangha, but that's so selfish of her.
Yeah. No. I think you calling her a coward and selfish, it's like valid. Because, yeah, she was. But I'm just saying, like, the reason that she is a coward and she's not able to communicate things properly is because of how she was raised. And it also goes to show, like, it reminds us that they are high school students at the end of the day. They're still young. They don't know how to go about certain things yet.
And I liked Hera more than Jae because Hera even admitted to herself. So whenever she found out, Hera found out about like Jae's like situation, she was like feeling bad, right? I mean, they both feel bad for each other. Both best friends are feeling bad for each other. But in the scene where Jae's little brother, the little brother that hates Jae, he had showed her a video of like exposing Jae and Rian like making out with each other. That's the video that she didn't want to be leaked out. The little brother shows Hera, right? And Hera's like, you know, she's like acting normal. She's like walking out, and then the little brother's like, oh, what did you think? Like, he's like smirking, like, oh, that's pretty good, like evidence or video to backstab Jae. And then Hera was like slapping little the little brother, and he was like, what the heck are you doing? Like, I'm literally doing you a favor. Like, all I've been to you was nice. Yeah. And she's like, you know, I can be a B sometimes, but like at least I have morals.
Yeah.
You know?
And she realized what Jae was going through the whole time, and that's when like she kind of like it clicked in her head again, like, oh my gosh, like why am I doing this over a boy? Like she's reminded of their friendship.
Yeah.
Of their friendship. But seeing Hera slap the brother was so satisfying.
Yeah.
Because he's so annoying. All the other people, it showed like their reasoning why they acted a certain way, and like,
but he was a straight up brat.
Yes, he's so annoying. Like, why are you acting like this? Jae didn't do anything to you. Like, yes, they set up to be like competitive against each other, but calm down.
Calm down.
You have no right to be acting like that. He's so annoying. He pisses me off.
Yeah, but the slap was satisfying. But my point is that I think I like Hera more than Jae.
But you know what it is too with them too? Hera didn't have as many like parental issues as Jae.
But I'm gonna give it another example, not Jae's example, but Rian, right? I also don't like him. I felt bad for him in the beginning because I saw how the parents was the issue, but because like he was led to believe that he's like, oh yeah, the best at the top, like everyone's supposed to respect you. That's all he like believed. So right,
because of his mom, yeah.
But it doesn't take that much. Just because you've been believed that way, seeing someone bullied, being beat up, that's like dehumanizing. Yeah, like it doesn't take that much to like think like, oh, this is kind of messed up, you know?
No, yeah.
And same with Jae, like the things that she's supposed to speak up about, like, because Kangha helped her, right? There was a scene where Jae and Rian pull up in the car at the party, and she's like standing behind Rian, like not saying anything, and Kangha's just looking at her like, what the heck? Like she could have just, I don't know, she could have like done differently. And same way, like why did she ask Kangha to help Rian, and when she knows that he wanted to target Rian in the first place, and she knows, but she still asks anyway. She's like, I know it's selfish, but like I don't know, something about that like made me like so. And you felt bad, but I don't. Like I
I felt bad because they went through the most. The reason that their background, whatever, their personal life, their issues isn't an excuse for their wrongs. Their wrong is still like that level of wrong, but I still feel bad for her because of her history. There's like a reasoning why she's acting like. There's also a reason why Rian is portrayed a certain way too, where like he's not this friendly character, and he's the whole time he's like quiet. That character just goes along with how his upbringings, just like how it is with Jae.
And kind of going off of that, so individually I don't like them, but also I just don't understand why they're together. Rian and Jae, I understand why, but I don't understand why, because it's probably like their bond they had together, all the good memories they had, right? But I think the breakup showed Rian's true color, you know. Well, and then I'm just, why would Jae and in the first place, why would Jae like Rian in the first place? Because of the way Rian is. Like he would just let his friends beat up and bully other kids.
Because at the time she didn't realize how bad that was either.
What do you realize?
She didn't realize how bad that was either.
What do you realize? Like that's I'm saying again.
It doesn't take that much to realize that kids getting beat up is messed up.
But they don't realize the level of bad that it is. They're just like,
oh, this is how it is.
Yeah, because that's how they're taught. They're taught because teachers too will look past it, and no one's telling them anything. Because you have to remember, as kids, they learn and they absorb what they're taught. So if they see that teachers are just looking past it, they're like, it can't be that bad. There's literally scenes too where kids are getting beat up and everyone else in the room, they're not even paying attention. They're just going on about their day. It's because that's how that school is built around. Is like the upper class can do whatever they want. The scholarship class should just obey that.
Another reason why I don't understand why Jae likes Rion is because after the breakup, right, and Rion's trying to win her back, he doesn't even know what Jae likes. He had set up this whole gesture thing to win her back, but it wasn't even what Jae likes.
So he says it later though. When he's talking to her, he was like, I know this isn't your style. But he was just desperate to do whatever. He knew that. And also, you know how like the whole time Rion doesn't say anything? And like to the bowling, he doesn't say anything. He like keeps it to himself. Jae too, the whole time she doesn't talk much. I think it goes along with like to everyone else. Wait, first of all, in the beginning, Rion didn't say much because I think he was still dealing with the breakup internally. He was still figuring out. And I don't think that the breakup showed his true colors. He
oh no, I know what I'm talking about. He's literally immature. He didn't care what Jae felt like. Her feelings. All he cared was about himself and to get back with her. That's all. That's his main focus. He didn't even care about like her feelings. I don't know how to explain it, but
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do agree with that though. I do agree. He is immature. All of them are because they're in high school. They're in high school. And like I think this show was like to portray their character development, them learning and growing throughout the high school stage, you know? And in terms of like, oh yeah, he like that was his only focus was to get back with her. I think it's because like they were so close. They were like this and they only have each other. Remember their case is like even worse because the one parent that they have in their life is horrible to them, treats them horrible. So they only have each other.
I came down to terms like why they are together is the only reason is like trauma bond or like they relate to each other. That's it.
Yeah, but like because their breakup, when they were so close, whenever they did break up, it was like a huge impact to him, you know. And so now he just doesn't know what to do. He's just going crazy, basically. And then like again with the whole thing, them not talking the whole time, it just goes to show like how close the relationship was. Like at the end of the day, it was still them two together. Even when he was like trying to get revenge or make Jae like jealous to be with Hera, he didn't talk much, right? But at the end, whenever he figures out the real situation with Jae, you see him like talking more with her and like he being more emotional. That's like the first time he really shows emotions, basically, is with Jae. And he figures out the whole pregnancy thing. That's, I think, from the beginning to end, the first time he actually shows emotion. Other than that, he's just cold, straight-faced and cold the whole time.
I don't know. I just wish she ended up with Kang Han.
Speaking of like their relationship, it all came down to them two. It was the same thing with the friends as well, Woojin and Hera. Mm-hmm. Yes, they had their ups and downs. Hera doing all of that because she liked Rion and stuff. Mm-hmm. But she also came to a point of realization. I think it was with like the brother, you know?
Okay.
Where she was reminded of their friendship and stuff, and they came back to their friendship. They like were reminded like, oh, at the end of the day, like they're friends. Like what are they doing to each other? Why are we doing this to each other? You know, like we grew up together. We've been together all this time. Like why are we suddenly acting like this?
Yeah, they had a genuine friendship.
Yeah, I really liked their friendship because they had their own problems, right? So like the 4 elite students had their own problems, and then like scholarship students had their own problems as well. So I think it goes to show that like everyone had their own problems. They just like they have to understand themselves, the students, the top 4 students have to understand that other people have problems besides themselves. Because I think that was Rion's biggest issue is like he doesn't understand. He obviously has his issues going, right? But that's all he understood. That's all he knew in his head. He was like, I have these problems with my mom. Like other kids don't have to go through this. So he automatically is like, you don't know what I'm going through, this and that. Like, how dare you act that way? You don't even have problems. But it's because he can't see their problems. He can't understand their problems.
In the end, everyone's a victim.
Yeah.
Except for like the adults of the school. Yeah. Their parents and everything.
Yeah. They really were the true.
Everyone's a victim.
Yeah.
And
but the system and the adults and stuff were the root problem of everything.
Yeah, because Rion's mom was the root to the root.
Yeah.
The root to the root to the root. Because like all she cared was like that her son was
the top of the top. Like sitting on a throne all the time, untouched.
Because he's supposed to be the. Is owner the right word?
The hair.
The hair. Yeah, the hair.
Here.
Not the hair.
The higher.
The hair.
The air.
The air.
The air.
The air. Just like air. The air. He's supposed to be the air. Whatever. Okay, so he's supposed to be the air, and that's why she was like, she was telling the principal to like do whatever you can to keep him at the top, kind of, or like protect him.
Protect him. He's like, protect the heir of my business. You know, that's the heir of this. Blah blah. I hated her. She was like, he was saying like, a mother needs to be there. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, I have prepared all of this for you. There's staff all around for you. And he's like, no, but like a mother needs to be physically there. I'm still a high school student. Those were scenes where I felt really bad for Rian.
And you know, whenever he was about to leave, right, and then like he was stopped by his mother and she was crying, I would also stop too. I wouldn't be able to walk out. I can see that. I wouldn't throw all this away. My mother's...
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? Mother's...
hard work.
Hard work, I guess. Yeah, away like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just... Yeah, there's just too much on the line to just do that. To just walk away, you know?
Yeah.
I felt bad for him, but I would also stay, unfortunately.
Yeah, they all went through a lot of pressure because a lot was on the line, though. The 4 elite kids. But I really think everything tied together beautifully. Although it started off as revenge, and you would think the rest of it follows like this strict, pure just revenge. It like drifted off into like the relationship with the students and like the top 4 elite, their troubles. I think it tied together well.
It's also because it was less of revenge, more about relationship. I think part of it has to do because the incident with Inha, it wasn't his death. Inha was on accident.
Yeah.
Purely actually an accident, not on purpose. I thought he was targeted, but it was actually an accident.
Yeah. That's why I think it ties together well. Yeah, because it steered away from revenge and more so to take down the school system, because that was the root of the problem. And then also the person, so yeah, the point Kang Ha going to the school was to get revenge, find the killer, right?
Yeah.
And him steering away from like personally aiming at people and instead aiming at the whole system, it still worked out in his favor. He still was able to find out the killer.
Yeah,
which
him-
ended up being the teacher.
Yeah, him doing that helped find the killer. Yeah.
That's why I think everything tied together well. And Rian and Jae ending back up together, I also think that even if like you didn't like them together, I think it tied together well, because that's the point of her being cold, her like pushing people away, this and that, was because her and Rian were supposed to be together. From the beginning to the end, they were meant to be together. And that's also why they didn't show too much of her and Kang Ha. Because then I remember watching the first half, I was like, oh, I wish the show was a bit longer so that they show more of Kang Ha and Jae's relationship to build up. Like, it would have been so cute. But now I understand why they didn't. Because it wasn't supposed to... Kang Ha and Jae weren't meant to be together. It was Rian and Jae the whole time.
But then unfortunately, she's pregnant and she gotta go to New York.
Yeah, she's pushing people away, this and that. And then everything went downhill.
And then so going back to the murder, the case, which is the teacher, we had suspicions about her too. We were like, oh, we think that she could be a suspect, but we weren't sure.
When everything was like revealed, because it was revealed at the very end in episode 4, who actually hit Inhan.
Yeah.
In that very first scene in episode 1.
At first we thought it was Woojin's car, but then behind the wheel was the teacher, their teacher.
Oh, and you know, it goes with our theory that we had in the first part. We were saying how like, oh, each time they show the scene again, more gets revealed, and that's what happened. The very first episode, they revealed just him getting hit. The second time they show it, it's like Woojin is like doing something with the car. So we think that's his car. And it was his dad's car. And then the last time, it finally shows that it was a teacher. So Woojin also didn't even have anything to do with it. His biggest factor was he covered it.
Yeah.
Even him didn't have to do with the murder though. Directly.
It's because
Or
whenever
the accident, it wasn't a murder. We find out now. It was an accident. It was a hit and run. It wasn't a murder.
It's because Inhan, whenever he was running away from the bullies, he had caught them, Woojin and the teacher making out. He's
Like, what the heck?
and he's like running out, and then the teacher's running after him, like let's just talk, because she's like, I want him to like not expose us, kind of thing, and like she's chasing after him, and that's when Inhan's like running around screaming, and the teacher is like I think she was like on the phone call like panicking, and she didn't realize that
she overall was just panic mode.
Yeah, panic
that
mode,
time.
and then she accidentally killed
and
him.
then Woojin also, his part he had to cover up, because if news because his dad is something with like government, he's wanting to run for president, it would affect his campaign. So if news went out that his son is with a teacher and then related to this case, it would have drastically affected his campaign. That's why Woojin was like scared and he took part of it. But I think that then goes with the whole lesson of the whole thing, that all the students at the end realize that like they need to own up to their wrongdoings. Instead of like beating around the bush, they need to just do it. Don't be scared. You know, Jae, that was a big turning factor for her too, is when Kang Ha told her like, you need to figure out what makes you happy and protect it. Don't be scared. And then at that point, everything went downhill, and like whole shebang was because she's like, Rian makes me happy. I need to protect it. She's not scared of it anymore, you know? And so she owns up to it. Rian too, he's like, at first he's not familiar with apologies and this and that, but he had to own up to it and he had to apologize. Woojin, despite like the situation with his dad and the potential damage it could cause, he also just had to own up to it as well. And he gave the pen that had all the evidence to Kangha. Or no, to Jae? He gave it to Jae and then Jae gave it to Kangha.
It was a beautiful-ish ending.
Bittersweet? It was bittersweet.
Bittersweet.
Rian and Jae, they also had to part ways too. She was like, we'll come back when we grow, stuff like that. We need to find our own happiness, which I think that is a really, really good thing. Because like they were leaning on each other the whole time. You know, you said trauma bond, but just leaning on each other, you know, that can help. But you do need to find yourself, especially at such a young age. They're still in high school. You know, at that age, you need to be learning more about yourself. If you're just leaning on someone else the whole time, your personality just becomes them. That you won't be able to survive on your own. So I think that was a really good choice of Jae.
Yeah. Yep. So the school got exposed. The killer got arrested, and yep, happy
Everything
ending
fell
into place.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it fell bloop, 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 into place. So, do you think the show was bingeable?
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
do too. I do too. I was hooked. Literally, the last 3 episodes, I binged the whole thing.
I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I had to finish.
It didn't turn out how we expected, which made it good.
Yeah.
Which made it good. Each episode ended with like cliffhangers that you have so many questions that you're asking in the air, so you want to watch the next episode. Got me hooked like that.
I give it a 9. A 9 out
Me
of
too,
10.
me too.
Yeah,
It's a solid 9. And there's like some things that could have been better.
Maybe a little longer.
Maybe. So that like
Maybe.
details. I still do feel like it was a tad bit rushed.
But it was still good regardless. Everything made sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Solid 9. A very, very solid 9. Yeah. That's it for today. Bye.
Bye.